How I met Doc, you asked? I know I took a while to get this out, but not because I was trying to pull you in. I needed to get here because this is different, so simple to be complex, and I'm a turtle. Slow grow in many areas. Each new infliction gets the response of growth. I was homeless, self-imposed. A choice between living in a studio with a mindset as stationary as the building, socially, stay with me, or just reread, rewind, review. I've got time. Thank you for allowing me to bounce around. Or living in a Jeep in the street. Alone, 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 in motion. Parking anywhere and reading signs to avoid tickets. I tried to find ways to be comfortable. The beginning was the start of everything. Day, hour, minute, second, year, decade, centuries. Circulation was not good, socially, emotionally, biology, psychologically. I had a job, slave, adequately worded, over racism, and I just couldn't get it. I was satisfied with nothing, but was acting in the opposite. I wasn't listening to the right music. I was incest. Don't know it, writing, what that word really means, but it fit in my head with the effects on me from the weakening words, phrases, pictures, inside and out. It was a young lady that was speaking to me, and she asked me something about my living in the car. I remember saying to her that one of the things that I liked about living in the car is that if a woman was interested in me, there would have to be some type of depth to her in order for her to delve past the superficial fact that I was living in a car. One night I just made up a story about a woman asking me, and that started because of the conversation that I had with her. Mm-hmm. And what I did is I started putting a scene together where somebody meets me to drop me off, and they think that they're dropping me home. I really don't know what they think that I'm living the way that I'm living is for. But it's not for sympathy. I don't tell people, for the most part, that I'm living like this unless that comes up with some frequency. I had somebody ask me last night, so where are you staying? And I just told them I'm all over Brooklyn. I don't try to get into specifics because I'm self-conscious about somebody thinking that I'm mentioning that because I want a handout, and I don't. Being in an apartment for me is, I feel alone. I feel like I'm in prison, and I always want to be out. And it doesn't make any sense for me to be paying rent for a spot that I'm spending so little time in. I love being in the car because I love just being able to go. I love to drive. It's a piece of freedom for me. And it's like no stress. Not worrying about being evicted, not worrying about somebody living upstairs and the noise being like this, or I can't smoke weed if I feel like smoking weed. I can't do this, I can't do that. I'm just tired of the I can't do this, no, I can't do that. I've been living outside in the car now for maybe 20 months. And every day is, it's new information, and I'm just hoping that my mind can expand with the time, and that I can have fun and I can learn and I can help, all in the same piece. I hope I answered your question. Because I talked to somebody and I told him what it is that you wanted, and you wanted to ask me some questions about. I wasn't sure. Racism is very vivid to me, and I didn't want my situation exploited, and I want to give this a shot. I want to see what happens. Because I live my life in hiding. And it feels good. On the one hand, there's a safe piece to it, and then there's a stagnating piece to it. So by saying yes to you, I resisted the stagnating. Oh, I'm scared. I'm scared because I know I put myself in a vulnerable position where the things that I express, for those that view my responses as weaknesses that they can jump on, then that's what they will do. So I worry about that. I'm clay. You are. This is me, and you're molding this, right? So my life is in your hands. No matter what you tell me, you can present this any way that you want. You can make me out to be a villain. You're in a position where you determine how people view my situation because of your presentation. You got a lot of responsibility.
But you can trust me 100%.
But I do trust you. I do trust you. That's why I'm sitting in your kitchen.
Hi. How's it going?
All right, thank you. How you doing?
Good.
That's good.
Good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you too.
I saw that message by
So
accident.
Okay.
I was in the city, I was uptown, and it must have been there all the time,
Yeah,
right?
because I put it there what was it, yesterday,
Yeah.
day before, something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
It was so small, and I don't know, funny. that I. And oh no, I was already writing for a while until I saw it today also.
Alright.
So there were other messages before?
No, I just did that. I just wanted to see if you noticed it. But that's what I'll do though, if I have a message
Okay.
for you.
I mean, now I know.
Alright.
And now I know the spot and my little mailbox.
Okay, yeah. All right.
But are you gonna have no phone now?
Until I pay the bill. Prison was a very scary and educational social experience for me. It weakened me, it strengthened me, in that it hurt me and it helped me. I guess if I wouldn't have experienced that, I would have had other pains. It just wouldn't have been that pain. And I say that it helped me because it may have saved me, in a sense, because sometimes the same thing that hurts helps. It's usually that it goes together, and you usually can't see the help because you're so caught up in thinking about the pain. But I don't think there is a bad experience that doesn't have a developmental side to it. Like as I talk about racism, as painful and as horrific as it is, there's still something that comes from that, that helps develop. Ironically, it helps to develop, I guess, because it's like war, give you an opportunity to develop strategies. And I don't even know if people actually think about it, but when we come outside from inside the house, we leave a safe environment to come into an unsafe environment. We step out the house to go to work, going through just about anything. Cause it's so crazy when you think about it. Like a cop can come right now, just come right here, and just tell me to roll down the window, and he actually put the gun in the car and just blow my brains out. And he tell you that if you saw anything, you should forget it. And that's real life. And it's fucked up that that's real life for somebody, for anybody. I think I am proud of the fact that I didn't lose anything as a person by living in the truck. That I'm still a good person, I still love to help people. I'm still able to be kind, and I don't feel like beat up. It's like I don't stop wanting more, or I don't stop like daydreaming about a better situation. And it's not like a stop sign for me. It's something that I chose to do. It was part choice, and the other part was that it was which is why I use that term self-medicated, because it was part, like, it was medicine for me, because I was sick. I wasn't able to live inside the walls. It did something to me. It made me feel more alone. I felt closed in. And I know that when I first came out, I couldn't live by myself. I had places that were available to me. I would always take somebody that I was in prison with. And I was like, yo, if you need a spot, you can come here. It's another room or space. And I used to think that I was like sharing and I was looking out for somebody, but I think that realistically I was hiding from myself. I was using somebody as a distraction. And when I finally did get to be by myself, I couldn't do it inside. I just needed to find something to do. And I would think about putting furniture in, and then I'd be like, yo, you're not gonna be here. It was like I was back inside prison. You're only gonna be here for a minute. They're gonna just transfer you to someplace else. It's a lot of shit. There's a lot of black men that die in prison because nobody can see inside. The walls are not high to keep us in. The walls are high to keep you out, to keep you from being able to see what they do. Well, nobody likes to hear anything about racism. It's a very challenging conversation for anybody, for either side, for lack of a better term. There's a lot of denial. I'm sure that blacks had a problem with the fact that I brought it up because it made them uncomfortable because they don't want to talk about it. Whites have a problem with it because they don't want to be associated with racism because they don't feel that they're racist. But all Caucasians are racist in some shape, form, or fashion. Nobody is strong enough to not be racist in any thoughts or in their demeanor. It's utterly impossible. You can't. This thing is color coded. Products that you buy at the store, they have certain. There's racism in the advertising. They have yogurts. They have things on the shelves that are racist. It's like really deep. And you have Caucasians that feel that it doesn't apply to them, that they're not racist. And then some will use that weak shit about, yo, my best friend is black, or I'm not racist, or I'm not. And nobody is saying that a person might hate me because they don't look like me. But they may say something to me that they think is all right, but it's something that they wouldn't say to somebody that looks like them. Because there's a certain level of comfort that racism gives Caucasians to help to make them foolishly think that they can, whether it's joke or whatever, on any level, like they can just do it and there's no consequences. However, I do believe that if you bring certain things to Caucasians' attention, they can be a little more conscious and they can be a little more responsible with the way that they approach things. They just won't feel that they could just say anything, because you can't. It's not all right. And I walk around there with a serious face, but my heart is good. And I know that people are uncomfortable with that because I'm on the elevator sometimes and some people will look at me and they'll look away because I'm not smiling. And if I feel like smiling, I'll smile. But I don't smile for somebody to feel comfortable from the first floor to the second on the elevator. I'm not doing that. If I don't feel like smiling, I'm not smiling. That's not a part of what I have to do. And that's also a part of racism that Caucasians don't understand. That a lot of Caucasians feel that they need to feel comfortable around me. Fuck you feeling comfortable. You don't have to feel comfortable around me.
I'm not doing anything to make you uncomfortable. You're uncomfortable because you believe the news. There's like 80 to maybe 90% or more that have never been robbed by anybody black. They've never been assaulted by anybody black. Nobody in their family's been killed by anybody black. They haven't been threatened or verbally disrespected. A lot of them haven't even had any interaction with black folks. But through movies and through the media, through the lies that are taught in school, they have this fear. I'm not living. I like survive, because I always have to worry about, that's why I walk in the street. I have to worry about some Caucasian woman lying. She's uncomfortable because the streets are dark and I'm dark. So when I see a Caucasian woman coming up the block, if I'm on the sidewalk, I get in the middle of the street. I try to get as close to lights as possible. So I try to avoid that because I've been inside. I've been hurt in there. It's a terrorizing atmosphere, and it has changed my life. And I don't want to go back in there. And it's not going to be all right if somebody lies and I end up in there. It's not going to be all right for them because it's not going to be all right for me.
She was just giving too much. And she should have... It gave me a lot to think about, how we all make this decision and... Oh.
Yeah.
I feel scared. I feel scared.
You all right.
What happened?
I don't know what happened.
Why did he set this on fire? What's the purpose for him, huh?
I don't know.
But I think we should, I don't really want to be here right now, huh?
All right, we're gonna move.
We should. Marc, we should leave this place. This is scary.
It's all right.
Yeah, who knows what will. Why did he do this? Huh? What do you think?
I don't know. I was watching him the whole time. I thought that I'll get that. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. I was wondering if he was robbing the truck. I didn't know if it was his truck or I just watched him walk away from it but it looked like he had.
What if the police and would you want to talk to them or?
No, I wouldn't talk to him. I'm a black man. They would want to question me, and if they didn't have, anything, they'd want me to be that person. You okay?
Yeah, but it made me very uncomfortable. Is it that he was first doing something at the car and then set it on fire? Or?
I don't know if he set it on fire.
Yeah, of course. No, he came. He left. He came from over there and he put his hood on.
All right.
He placed.
Listen to what you're saying. Do you know that he set the car on fire?
No, but I'm putting one and one together.
All right, but so you got to be careful with that because
I know.
there are a lot of people. No, you don't know. You don't know. There are a lot of people in prison because somebody just said that somebody did something because that's what they thought, you know, like he could have been fucking with something in that car and it could have just blown up. You know, there could have been chemicals in the car and...
I know, but for me the most logical thing, I know at the same time I'm saying this, I know I have to be careful, but it was maybe 2 minutes after he passed us, he put the hood on, that this car
But he came down with the hood. He had the hood on when he first went to...
And it exploded, and then maybe a minute later he got back and kind of checked out that car to maybe look at it. That's how I observed it.
No, my experience is different from yours.
Yeah?
I wouldn't talk to the police. I don't know what the situation was. I just know that, you know, I learned that a lot of people say things and they don't realize, you know, you can cost somebody their life. You don't know anything about. All you know is you saw somebody that was covered up at a car. All of a sudden the car went boom. You don't know what it is. Because of the way that this place is not about justice. It's not about... Prison is money. And with racism being the bottom line, they just want to get more and more of the males that look like me inside so that they can get free labor. That's who makes all the office furniture, the sewer tops, you know, the police uniforms, eyeglasses. A lot of shit that you see out here is made in prisons. You know, because the labor, they pay them like 10 cents an hour. So it's a different situation for me. My life is not the project. My life is my life. You know, I'm trying to get a grip on my life. This is something else. You know, I don't even. It's a part of my life. I got that. You know, but I'm doing this as much for me as I'm doing it for you. I told you that I was interested in what it is that you wanted to do. I don't even consider myself having a life as of yet. You know, I'm trying to etch out something so that I can feel better about me. And in the meantime, while I'm not feeling good about me, I am opening my world to you. You are in right now what is my house. You know, you spend more time in my house than anybody. I don't want your hunger for the project to cause you to lose perspective with respect to my life and the privacy of my life. You know, there's elements of my life that are, it's you have this project. You know, that's how you view this. You view my life as a project, and it's not. You know, this is my life. I think you're getting entangled. You know, what happened with my not speaking to you or not connecting with you was something that I was going through, and I had to work it out.
But I didn't know. I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
At that point.
But it was selfish. They told me the first time, they said, well, we're not going to let you go and you can come back and see us in 14 months. And their reason was that I was exhibiting antisocial attitudes. I'm in prison, so. And then the next time I went, they said, come back and see us in like 18 months. You have too much violence in your record. That's not going to change. But that's, you know, that's their power. That's the power that they have. I'm just glad that I wasn't a father. I'm glad that I wasn't. I was thinking like I wasn't destroying somebody's life by not being in their life. Crazy experience. Changed my whole world. I mean, I did dumb shit like kids do. But to consciously hurt somebody, that wasn't me. And being in there just changed me. It made hurting people that hurt me, it made it easier for me. It got so bad that I wanted to be hurt. I've taken it out on people, but I mean they've put themselves in in the line of fire because I'm not a bully. I'm usually the one that's bullied. It's just that my responses are extreme now. And that's why I stay to myself. I don't want to be hurt. I don't want to hurt anybody. My stance is actually like a coward stance, you know, because in order for me to live, I have to get involved. But I'm trying a little bit at a time. It's not easy. I just be so afraid. August 17th is the day that my brother died. It was a hot morning. And my brother, he was 8 years old. I was 15. And
We lived on Bedford Avenue in Flatbush. And he had just learned how to handle like the two-wheeler, because before he was riding with the training wheels on, and he was just able to do the two wheels now. So I took him to the parking lot. It's a big parking lot, and this is 1975. So he had his bike, and I had a mini motorcycle. So I took that so that he could ride and I'd ride around. You know, I was having fun. He was riding around. I think I watched him for a little while, and then I was riding my bike. And I was out there with some of my other friends. You know. And then my mother came, and I don't remember whether she had her bike or not. You know, but I think she just came to like watch Lyle, because that's his name, Lyle Christopher Thompson. And he was riding. She was watching him. And so I was riding, you know. Everything was, it was beautiful, you know. And I just heard a noise, like a bang. And then I heard a scream. And I don't know if I recognized the scream as my mother's, but I know I turned around. And when I turned around, I just saw, like, and I didn't know it was my brother, but somebody was rolling underneath the car. You know, the car was still going, and they were rolling underneath the car. And I recognized his shirt. So I just got on the bike and I just rode down there. And when I got there, the car had just stopped. And my brother was just laying under the car. Like he was trying to come from under the car. So he was like crawling. I just watched him. I couldn't move. I didn't know what to say, didn't know what to do. I was just looking at him. And an ambulance took a long time. So we just stayed there. I just watched him. And I didn't realize that I had blamed myself for his death because I took him to the lot. And I never knew that I did that. And I guess that's why I got into trouble. And my mother she took me to therapy, but I couldn't talk. I didn't know what to talk about. You know, the therapist used to try to get me to talk. I was angry. I didn't know how to talk. And I just started going downhill. I started stealing. I started just hanging out. I've never been like what they call like a bad kid. I never really had that in me. I was too soft to be like bad. But I was fucked up inside. I was alone. I was more alone than ever before in my life. And I couldn't shake it. Didn't know what to do about it. So I was like a walking zombie. You know, I was going through the motions of everything, but I wasn't there. I didn't want to be there. I probably wanted to be dead, but I just didn't have that thought in my head. Didn't know really how to like place that. My sister had my mother. My father wasn't around at the time. He was alive, but he wasn't living there. So my sister had my mother. And I didn't have anybody. That was probably the most traumatic experience. I ever had. And it changed my life because without even realizing it, it made me afraid to get close to anybody. If I did get close to somebody, I might do something to fuck it up. Not even conscious of it, because I didn't want to lose like that again. It was more than devastating. The reason it was more than devastating is because I didn't even realize what it was doing to me. I mean, years later, 20 years later or more, I could see two brothers sitting on a train and they'd be laughing with each other or they'd be arguing. And I would just start crying. I didn't understand it. I would be at movies and certain scenes would just make me cry. And I think the scenes had something to do with somebody being saved. And somebody had told me that the reason that I used to cry is because I couldn't save my brother. So that would make me cry. Being in prison has repressed my urge. So I'm maybe excited. I think I have a stronger hunger for that. And at the same time, I also have a greater tolerance for abstinence because I went so many years without the sex. I mean, masturbating, that's one thing, but there was no physical contact of another woman on that level. So I went, like 10 years without sex. It's not like I can't be without it. I don't want to be without it. There's no greater feeling, So it's a combination of the two. My urges are stronger, and I have to find ways to preoccupy my mind. And the fact that there's no one readily that I see like that to do that, I just let it dissipate. I just put my mind on something else. I'll watch something that's funny just to get me away from that, maybe take a little drive or think about something that makes me angry until I go to sleep or until something comes up to replace that feeling. And what I do is I write about it. I'll create a scene that'll take the urge and the desire from me, and I just put it on paper. I call it Thoughts to Go. What am I searching for?
Is it already here? Am I proceeding with caution, or is it really fear? Are my pains from yesterday holding me back, or is it that a conscious excuse that keeps me in lack? Sometimes I feel as though I overthink my way into indecision when having the ability to excel with precision. Alone, lonely, does it really stop the show? Or am I being wordy because I'm afraid to glow, grow, go? In evaluating me, excuse me, I tend to cling to the past, as though if I don't, my tomorrow won't last. Struggling with the Disney view of how I would like it to be, has no daring on what's in my face, the tasteless reality. Wanting to change what I see that appears to be wrong is mistakenly the off-key notes in my own unsung song. Seeing it so clearly as I create these lines makes the light brighter, for I refuse not to shine. Knowing one gift for sure is my ability to write, to keep this visual art morning, noon, and night. Thinking that the fear is laziness stagnating my potential. Changing the approach is progressively essential. Rhymes are a perfect fit for me. Then again, writing is the eyes out of which I see. It's also my voice when fear blocks my vocals, keeping me from international, stymied by locals. Thoughts, that is when the light switch is not on, but I'm about to rewrite this song, blowing up the balloon of self-esteem myself, waiting no longer for another's verbal wealth. It's probably right here, all that I need. Let me look deeper inside so as to germinate that seed. I wrote this on October 19, 2018, by Marc Thompson. I just don't know what normal is, because I mean I've looked at people that have never been in trouble, or they've never been in jail. I've gotten into conversations with them, and if their life is normal, I don't want their life. I don't want that. And I definitely hope to be able to not be sleeping on the train too long. You know, it's not a comfortable thing. And it does something to my attitude and even my outlook. It makes me feel less than I am. And sometimes I feel like I'm incapable of just living what I call normal in an apartment. And I'm just glad that that type of feeling only lasts for a moment. But it happens. Like how I use the bathroom when I'm on the train, I keep a urinal in my bag so that if I have to urinate, I don't have to worry about getting a ticket and if I have to do something other than urinate, and I can't get to the gym, then I'll just get off at any stop and look for a bar, because usually bars are open after hours. And I'll go in and I'll ask if I can use the bathroom. And if they tell me no, that the bathroom's only for customers, then hopefully I'll have a couple dollars on me and I'll buy a drink. And then I'm a customer. And if they tell me yes, I may still buy a drink, just because, you know, they were courteous enough to let me use the bathroom. But that's probably one of the most uncomfortable things. The other is if I happen to get in a car and there's somebody in there that hasn't been able to wash their body for a while and they have an odor that's like real. That's a hard. It's hard to be around that. It's rough. See my veins now a little bit.
Looks a little better now.
So I've been living outside for 2 years. And if somebody says you can spend the night on the couch or spend a couple days on the couch, I'm afraid to do that because, I mean, I would like to, but I don't want to. Because number one, I'm in somebody's spot. This is their space. I can't really relax because this is their space. If they put something on the shelf right there
I can't just put my stuff on the shelf. I can't just go out and come back 4 hours later if that's what I want to do. I don't have keys. It's got a little prison feel to it. It's not independent. It's not mine. And then the other side is that, when you're sleeping on the train, it's not comfortable, but I don't have to answer to anybody. It's nobody's space. I mean, the police, they can tell you to get off the train. But for the most part, it's just, I ride until somebody tells me. So, I go in somebody's place and there's heat. And they tell me, oh, you can sleep there. So it's a soft mattress, couch. And I can take off my coat, my sweater, my hat, my boots. But there's a side of me that says, relax. And then there's another side that says, no, don't relax. Because this is not you. You're only here for a minute. If you relax too much, then it'll be harder for you when you go back on the train. So that's the tug of war. And I know that before this situation, when I would get on the train, or I would see somebody outside that was homeless, I didn't relate to them, because of my ignorance. I saw myself as being different. And I wasn't. I guess I just needed to think that in order to feel better about myself. When the car broke down, when the engine finally gave out, I went back to sleeping on the train. I would get on the train and see people that are homeless, and sometimes I would sit next to them, and if there was an odor, I wouldn't, And now when I'm on there and somebody will see me in the corner with the hood over my head and my briefcase or my luggage or whatever, and they'll look at me and they'll go the other way, And I understand. It hurts. It's not that I want them to sit next to me, but it's that I feel uncomfortable because they don't want to sit next to me because of what they might perceive. And I know that I was them too before. So it's interesting, it's a humbling experience. I don't know what the percentage is, but I know that some of them they're not what is publicly or socially considered mentally sound. And they use the bathroom on themselves, and people don't even realize how unsanitary the trains are, because the trains are not being cleaned. They're not really being cleaned. There's no concern about the trains being cleaned, just like there's less concern for people that are homeless. But to the more important piece, my view has changed considerably because I am homeless. I guess for me, sometimes I have to go through something in order to be able to better identify with it. I would like to believe that I can look at something and kind of like get an understanding of a thing, but there's nothing like personal experience, no matter how trifling it may be. And I'm actually, I've been rewarded for my experience to have met individuals, to be able to see how people are treated, mistreated, the way that MTA workers respond to people that are sleeping on the train because they have like a disdain for them because it's a picture that they feel might be a reflection of themselves. Like they feel that
I'm a piece of shit. And I just feel for those that are out there, that are homeless. Their families that are outside. They're women that are homeless. Doctors and teachers. It doesn't matter what the profession is. It's just circumstances. Some people get overwhelmed by grief because of the loss of somebody that they cared about a great deal. Some people have hit hard times economically. Some people have had problems mentally with maintaining a level of consistency, and they were unable to keep up with bills. I mean, similarly, like my situation, maybe in another fashion. But there are just so many reasons why and how someone can end up outside. And the fact that I do it, and it's not anything that's difficult for me. It's actually stress free for me, in spite of the little things that'll happen that I might internally complain about. I mean, there are people that care about me. They know that I'm out there, and they tell me about how concerned they are for me, and they hope that that I'm okay. And when they hear the weather is going to be crazy, they want to know how I'm doing. I'd rather be out there than in that apartment. So my short range goal is to get an RV where I can have like an apartment on wheels, since I like to be on the go. I want to be my landlord. And it's it's feasible, it's doable. I'm getting there. But in the meantime, I'm good. I would like this experience to be able to put me in a position, widen my insight, so that I might be able to help and or be the person to create something that can actually aid those that are homeless. Something that would really give them some attention, that's worthy of recognition. And to be able to just know that they can continue living without worrying about being harassed or feeling like an outcast. It's important. I think everybody wants to be accepted and belong. It helps me to be able to see more of a person than to just see the fact that somebody might be putting their hand in a garbage can or having a cup out for some coins. I can see more than that now. And that helps me with my day. When you asked me where I live, and I pointed at the Jeep, and you said, I don't remember your exact words, but it was like, no, well, where do you live though? Where do you live? I said, she doesn't. She thinks I'm joking. When I saw you, maybe it was a week or two later, and you were looking at me, and you said, and you look like a little kid, Your eyes were like, you said, I have a million questions for you, and I loved it, I loved it.
Hi there.
I think that was my view of therapy. I was going to be able to talk about or take another look at my life through going through whatever I was going through. It's good to be alive. And I try to remember that, everybody has a story. And no matter how much shit I'm going through, there's somebody that would jump through hoops of fire to have my shit to go through than their own. I'm smiling because I'm surprised that this is happening. To be in an apartment, to not be living outside.
You have an apartment now?
Yeah. I'm in an apartment now, and it allows me to think peacefully. But there's a calm with the door closed behind that just helps me to appreciate this, and it helps me to appreciate where I was. I'm just thankful for being right here.